We know that these homicides occurred in the early morning hours of Sunday, November 13th. Around noon, Moscow officers received a call of an unconscious person. Officers discovered the bodies of Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Goncalves inside the residence on King Road. The four were stabbed with a knife, but no weapon has been located at this time.
And the mystery continues tonight. Who murdered these four college students? Let's go right out to Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter joining us live from Moscow, Idaho. Chanley, great to see you tonight. There's been a lot of chatter online, obviously, about this case. Wherever you go, people are talking about it. And a lot of the internet sleuths, I don't know if it's sleuths or sleuths, right? Have been talking about a particular neighbor out there, someone who has given a lot of media interviews. And my understanding is that you now have had an opportunity to speak to this neighbor on camera. What can you tell us, and who is this guy?
Yeah, Vinny, we've been out and about here at the crime scene. I want to give you a quick look at what it looks like. We're starting week 3 here, where this has been roped off. The authorities did not return today. There's constant guards on duty here to make sure nobody crosses the lines, of course. But this is the home tonight, Vinny. You can see one of the lights in the second floor right bedroom is on. Last time I talked to you, we were here, it was not on. And the growing memorial here in front of the house as well, with flowers and a teddy bear. And the weather, it has been downpouring snow all day long. So a lot of snow on this property, but also on the street next to it, which has slowed down some of the traffic going up and down this hill, and the people getting to that apartment complex where dozens of neighbors live, to this crime scene. And that one that you mentioned, his name is Jeremy Reagan. He is someone that we've seen out and about, and of course, as you mentioned, has done several interviews, local interviews, national interviews as well. And so, as you mentioned, that has began some rumors online that possibly this particular neighbor, who is seen frequently here at the crime scene, walking around, he walks his dog and has talked to the media, is someone that they're trying to point a finger to. So I did recognize him. I stopped him today when he said who he was, and he says that it concerns him that people think he's the next Stephen McDaniel. I don't know if you remember him, Vinny, but he was a convicted murderer who killed his classmate, his neighbor, and then did television interviews afterwards, let the police search his apartment. So I talked to this Jeremy Reagan, and he addressed those rumors with me. Let's watch.
Apparently I'm famous on the internet now for something that I didn't do, because I didn't do it. I have nothing to hide. I'm willing to give DNA, fingerprints, whatever they need. But yeah, it's just upsetting being compared to a murderer when I didn't do anything.
He is adamant, Vinny, that he had nothing to do with this. He's just trying to be someone who's helpful. He says it's hard for him to say no when people ask him to do things. So he talked to me more about why he believes those online sleuths are spreading that rumor that he's responsible for this murder. Let's watch.
I'm naturally an awkward person. Just my mannerisms, the way I talk. A lot of things have been online about, when he was talking, he went from present tense to past tense in one of his sentences, partly because everyone corrects themselves when they're talking. And so just my natural person, a little bit socially awkward, so I might smile at points that I shouldn't. I might make weird hand movements when I shouldn't, stuff like that. And so people have sort of keyed into that and said, he's a weirdo, he must be this killer. And so it's just stuff like that. And so, plus I think it's the amount of interviews I've done, because I have a problem saying no. Because if it's not going to hurt me physically or financially, I might as well help someone.
Vinny, so Jeremy lives 3 doors down this way. I've spoken to the first neighbor, the second neighbor, now Jeremy, the third neighbor here at this apartment complex. He says that he did not know the victims personally, but he's talked to me and, of course, the other media interviews about he would recognize the victims that lived in this home. He said he would see them frequently as he walked his dog back and forth, or that he would hear parties going on in this home, that he could see through the windows, things of that nature. But he did address with me his alibi if he has to have one. Let's watch.
I was home. I was asleep. I went to bed around 11:30-ish that night. And so I didn't see or hear anything. I'm usually a fairly deep sleeper. Nothing too crazy, just because I've lived in that neighborhood and I was used to my first year here was loud. And so I just sort of learned to drown it out. And so, yeah, everything appeared normal to me, at least when I went to bed and I woke up. 2 hours later, we got that message and there were cops everywhere, and that's when it all ended.
Vinny, he says it is unsettling to live so close to the quadruple murder. He says now, since the murders, he's been carrying his gun as he walks around this area back and forth. We're just steps from campus. I caught him here. He was on his way back home from his law school class. He's a third-year law student here at the University of Idaho, Vinny. And he says, again, willing to do anything the authorities may need so he can finally just clear his name.
Yeah, I would never criticize someone for speaking to the media because we approach people, and often what happens is you approach them, and if they talk, they talk, and then if other media sees that, hey, this guy's talking, they'll try to track him down, and then he'll talk to them, and then it can multiply like that. He admits he's kind of awkward, has an alibi, but he was by himself, sleeping. Unbelievable the way things have developed, but I guess at this point, until they name a suspect, everyone's looking at anyone in the area, I guess. Now, let's talk about the students. Back from Thanksgiving, today would have been the first day. What can you tell us about the campus today?
Yeah, Vinny, I've spent most of the day on the campus here at the University of Idaho, and with a mass murderer still on the loose, it's still quiet on campus. There's, according to the students I've talked to, the professors I've talked to today, it's about half full. There are more cars than last week when there was fall break and I was here, but they still say classes are about half full. There's not as much traffic, but the university doing a lot to try to make them feel safe. They are offering the remote learning if they don't feel safe being here, but those I talked to today say they feel relatively safe. Let's watch.
There's not really much going on campus. This is my first day back, so it's kind of just seeing what's going on. A lot more police officers and stuff.
I mean, it feels a lot safer, like, with them around.
There's, like, a ton of security now, so. Like, I was driving around town, and there's police everywhere, so.
It's kind of, like, a little ghosty. Everyone's on edge, quiet and stuff. You don't see everyone as talkative, like, chatty, as, like, social as they used to be and stuff when we go out. Yeah. There's a lot less people out, so just going to get breakfast in the cafeteria this morning, there's a fraction of the people out is usually there.
They do say that they see that extra security. I can see it. It's very apparent. Both campus security and the Idaho State Police troopers that have been brought in to just drive around, walk around the campus, escort students to classes. They have counseling services available. Of course, there's grief dogs even at this campus for those still suffering. We stopped by the Sigma Chi house where Ethan Chapin was a member. Again, I can see it from where I'm standing right here, not far. It was the most quiet of the fraternity houses that we walked past. Still very somber here on the community. This heaviness, it's so palpable here on campus, and they really would like some answers. There is a vigil on Wednesday, Vinny, that the school is planning. We're expecting the governor of Idaho to be here Wednesday night to speak at this vigil. Thousands of people are expected. It's going to be at the football arena inside, not far from where I am right now. And all of those students I talked to today will be there. They are planning to be there.
All right, Chanley Painter is staying with us the rest of the hour. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the crime scene. We're going to bring in our investigators. This case is still unsolved. So at this point, I could imagine what it's like to be a student on that campus. We'll be right back.
.com.
This is the home where 4 University of Idaho students were found brutally stabbed, and as details are slowly coming out in this investigation, one question is remaining: the movements of the killer on November 13th. The 3-story home just steps away from campus is a split-level house with 3 floors, one entrance on the first floor, and a sliding back door allowing someone to also enter on the second level. After looking at public information and observing investigators here on the ground, this is what the floor plan of the home appears to be. The first point of entry is the front door of the house, or what some refer to the basement level of the home. This is where the two surviving roommates of the home lived, with their bedrooms being on opposite sides of the home. As you enter the front door, there is a staircase to your immediate left that takes you to the second level living room. Authorities say the murders happened on the second and third floors of the home. The second floor holds the common areas, which include the living room and the kitchen, where those glass sliding doors are located, where it seems investigators believe the suspect could have entered that morning. There are 2 more bedrooms located on this floor as well. The investigation likely points to Xana and Ethan being in that second bedroom the morning of the murders. Towards the back of the home near the kitchen is another set of stairs that leads up to the third floor. Once on the third floor, the stairs seem to lead into a loft area with a bedroom on each side and a shared bathroom. There is a letter M located in the left side room's window, which would seem to indicate this room was occupied by victim Maddie Mogan when she was murdered. And according to a TikTok video posted by victim Kaylee Gonsalves, it seems the room on the opposite side of this third floor would have been her room. The authorities still believe that this was a targeted attack, so it is possible the killer knew the layout of this home. And as investigators continue to process all the evidence from this property, they hope it will lead them to the person responsible for this mass murder.
All right, that's a look inside of this crime scene. Let's bring back in Shanley Painter. Also joining us tonight, our investigators in Salt Lake City, Private Investigator Jason Jensen, and a Nashville, Tennessee retired sergeant for the Nashville Police Department, Melissa Pinkleton. Great to see you both. Let's get a few more details first from Shanley. Shanley, what more can you tell us about the home?
Sure. So let's start on that first floor, Vinny. That's this front door right behind me. When the investigators arrived responding to that 911 call November 13th, that front door was found wide open. And you can see on the floor plan that you go immediately up a staircase to the left. But that would have been the floor where the 2 surviving roommates were at the time of this murder, if that gives anybody some perspective on what happened. But if you look at the second floor, a lot of the common areas would be there. So when they called 911, they found someone unresponsive on the second floor, Vinny. So that floor is where I believe Xana and Ethan Chapin were located in bedroom number 2 on this rendering. Because the reason I say that is because if you go around the back, it's dark now, I can't show you now, but you can see what appears, we haven't confirmed this, but it appears to be blood seeping from the back side of that bedroom number 2 on the second floor. If 2 victims were in there, maybe that explains why there would be copious amounts of blood on that floor. And of course, the third floor, the 2 best friends who grew up together, Maddie Mogan and Kaylee Gonsalves, would have been likely up there. We don't know, of course, for sure, but based on the evidence being here at the scene, it does seem that that would be the case. And I hope that gives our viewers some insights as they also, with us, try to put the pieces of this puzzle together.
Absolutely. Jason Jensen, private investigator. They keep saying targeted attack, but there's 4 victims. Does the layout of this home tell you anything?
Well, it does, Vinny. The layout to me kind of makes it sound like to me that the killer missed 2 of the occupants. So if they were targeting the home, if this was a home that he was familiar with the layout and familiar with the occupants, and his goal was to kill them all, clearly he missed 2. So it doesn't really sound to me that it's so specifically targeted in the sense that he wanted to kill everybody in the room, but maybe someone specific was targeted that lived there, like Ethan or one of the other roommates that ended up dead.
Melissa, what does the layout tell you about this crime and this investigation?
Well, I mean, the layout of the crime is very complicated, actually. Most crime scenes do not have 3 levels. Most crime scenes, you have 1 victim or maybe 2, but because there's 4 bodies here, it's going to be copious amounts of evidence to process. They've taken over 4,000 pictures. They have over 100 pieces of forensic evidence. And so it's going to take a long time, and that's also why the scene has not been released yet. I'm hoping, actually, because this was such a brutal crime, and stabbing is a very intimate crime. A lot of people don't know this, but when the suspect is stabbing in the middle of a crime, the knife will get so slippery that they will actually end up stabbing themselves. So in this evidence that they find, I'm hoping that some of his or her DNA is mixed in, and giving them an idea, the evidence, idea of a suspect. But back to what your other guest said, if it's targeted, I don't know that not so much that they missed them. I don't know if the first two people on the first floor were supposed to be there. I think that they possibly weren't supposed to be there, but also he might have had just been surprised by the other people in the house if it was targeted specifically to one person anyway.
Our guests are staying with us. Chanley Painter live in Idaho. We got much more to get to on this, plus coming up next hour. In Los Angeles, California, star of that 70s show, actor Danny Masterson, accused of raping 3 women, all former members of the Church of Scientology, is facing a potential life sentence. All the evidence is in, and it's time to hear from the jury. We are live from L.A. with the latest.
The first was to see a chart defense attorney Philip Cohen used to explain guilty beyond reasonable doubt during closing arguments, and the incident reports of Jane Doe number 1. The judge denied the request because neither were admitted into evidence during testimony.
Okay, Kaylee Goncalves' father spoke to Fox News' Lawrence Jones over the weekend and shared his frustration with the lack of communication he's had with law enforcement. Here's what he said about the last time police reached out to him.
It was Wednesday, 5 p.m. was the last time that they reached out to me. So, yeah, that's rough.
Sir, what are they telling you?
They're kind of just telling me that they can't tell me much, which is frustrating to me because I've been very trustworthy. I do know things. I haven't shared things.
Some frustration there. Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter still with us in Moscow, Idaho. Our investigators with us. Chanley, and any sightings of the families out there at this point?
No sightings yet. We do expect them, or some of them, to attend that vigil on Wednesday, Vinny, and hopefully they may even say something. We'll have to wait and see. But the authorities so tight-lipped. I think we all share the frustration of Kaylee Goncalves' father there, him even more so, with this lack of new information. In fact, the latest update from the authorities, Vinny, says, at this time, no suspect has been identified. Here we are starting week 3 of this investigation. But as we mentioned earlier, the local police, state police, FBI have gathered hundreds of pieces of evidence, hundreds of tips from the local community here, and still no murder weapon, still no suspect, but all actively being processed around the clock. Even through the Thanksgiving holiday, we were able to know that the prosecutor was at the FBI mobile command unit at the police station on Thanksgiving. So they're actively really trying to solve this. In fact, they understand that this community is on edge. People are still in fear with the killer on the loose. And the latest update did mention this right here. I want to say that it says, we understand there is a sense of fear within our community. Since November 13th, the department has received 78 calls for unusual circumstances and 36 requests to check the welfare of loved ones. That's an increase from 70 from 18 in the month of October. So as officers continue to work around the clock to respond to those incidents, they're just encouraging people to be vigilant and trying to calm some of this, reminding people this was a targeted attack, but to continue to bring them tips and call in if they remember any little tidbit. It does seem that this slowed down here at this house, like I mentioned to you earlier, Vinny. I just want to point out a couple of things because we haven't seen the usual presence or the daily visits of the investigators here, and likely maybe they have everything they need. They're just keeping this protected. But these vehicles out front, there are 5 vehicles in the front driveway area that's gravel. It's covered with snow now. These cars have not moved since day one, Vinny. So these are not the investigators' cars. These have to be the vehicles of the victims, or maybe even the 2 surviving roommates. There were 5 women who lived in this home, so likely these are their cars. We did earlier see an officer come out and do something with this red Jeep, but go back in. But again, these cars have not moved since day one. These headlights here, that's the 24/7 security here at the home, protecting this barrier, this police tape. And again, just that second story window where that's the room that the light has been on today that wasn't on when I was here last week. And again, I believe that to be the room, likely room where Xana and Ethan were. So that's just a little lay of the land as of tonight, Monday, week 3 beginning. Vinny.
Melissa Pinkleton, you know, the other part of this is you're investigating a quadruple murder, but you've got a campus that's half empty, but the half that is there is scared.
They are, and rightfully so, and I understand that. And I'm glad that they have a lot of different things that they have placed there for them, counselors, animals that are to help through any of the grief that they're having, and people to talk to. So that's really good that they put those things in place. But I also think it's really healthy that they are going about their normal day and going to class. While they may be still scared, and everybody is, they need to start moving on with life and getting back to a sense of normalness. And that's just really the healthiest thing that they can do, is try and get back into their daily habit.
Jason Jensen, and how about the family that's starting to get a little frustrated now? They've done a lot of the work here, and they're not getting anything back from law enforcement.
Yeah. Sadly, you know, victims always have that complaint, and, you know, we have compassion for them because they really want to know, they really deserve to get justice, and we hope that justice comes to them speedily. But unfortunately, due to the fact that law enforcement likes to keep this information close to the vest because they want to maintain the integrity of the investigation, because at the end game, they want to make sure that there's a solid prosecution and we don't have something happens like what happened in the
out of time, Jason, Melissa.